18 and haven't done Safe Sanctuary with me, you have a form to fill out for your background check, and Miss Lynn is going to need your driver's license, and she's going to go make copies. Okay? You are over 18 and haven't done it with me. If you're under 18, the only thing for you to sign is the last page, and basically what it says, it should be a one-page sheet. It says, I know what you taught me, and I will follow the rules. Got it? Because it's important that you've heard what we have to say. By the way, I'm Reverend Emily White. I'm glad to see you. Sorry I didn't introduce myself. Got task focused. Not yet. They can hold on to them. I did not make a sign-in list. Miss Lynn's gonna make one. She's great like that. That's why we have 5 helpers, 5 people putting this together. I'm gonna go ahead and start. People come in behind me, but I'm gonna respect your time. Hello, everybody. Here, Miss Kathy. Miss Kathy only needs this one. She has done Safe Sanctuary. We're gonna start in prayer. Does that be all right? Let's pray. Dear Lord, thank you for bringing us here. Thank you for the people who have come to give up their time to serve you and to help others. Thank you for this beautiful, albeit rainy day. Let us work together to serve you best, to teach a whole lot of people about you. Let us see you even in these details. We love you, Lord. In your name we pray. Amen. So my spiel of the deal is our policy to keep kids safe. We hope we never have to, we hope there is never a reason that children will be unsafe, but it is important to follow the rules so we can keep kids safe. Does that make sense? So why in the world, at a church of all places, would we spend time talking about child safety policies? Anybody? Okay, I need you to talk because I get real sick of my own voice.
Protects us, protects the kids.
Protects us,
Everybody.
it protects the kids, it protects everyone. Because if a kid made an allegation against you that wasn't true, you would want someone to be able to say they didn't do that, right? And heaven forbid we hurt a kid, right? Heaven forbid we know there are bad people that can be around. We also do it because Jesus told us to do it. He said, let the little children come to me. He cared about children and vulnerable people. We do it because our tradition, our denomination, tells us we have to. There are rules that say you have to have these policies. We do it because we care about keeping people safe, and we do it because it's wise and it keeps us within the law. Does that make sense? Cool. Who is affected by a policy that keeps people safe? Mr. Wally already gave us part of that answer. Jackson? The people helping at VBS, you. It is designed for you, number one. Not number one, but that is one. Who else is it designed for? Them, the kids. Or, we're going to get into definitions in a minute, other people who are vulnerable. Okay? And it protects the church. It protects the trustees, the people who are in charge of keeping us safe in our policies. So let's get to definitions. Are you ready? Children are birth through 12. For the most part, that's who you're going to be working directly with, okay? We also say birth through 6th grade. 12 is a little weird, but birth through 12. 13 through 18 is youth. It also protects trustees and church leadership and vulnerable adults. This is the part that is hard. Are you ready? Vulnerable adult, first of all, is someone who cannot make decisions for themselves. Do you know people whose mental capacity, even though they are of age, is not such they can make decisions for themselves, right? And it may be the elderly, defined as 65 or older. I'm sorry, that is the definition. Let's move on. I know a whole lot of 70-year-old people who are not elderly. I am sorry, let's keep going. We're not going to talk a whole lot about that because we are going to be very specific on children in this training, okay? So, safe sanctuary also protect y'all. There's a whole list of who y'all are. So, what can you think of? Why would the church be at risk? Jackson.
Because we're all going to say that we were helping any time of these.
Because anyone can sue us, right? Because anyone can sue us, because anyone can sue us. Why else are churches specifically at risk? Politically, there are people that might want to hurt us politically. Can I also say we're really nice? Can I also say we always need volunteers? So sometimes we take anyone, which is why you're here. No, I'm just kidding. Right? We're at risk because we want to include people, right? And because we're nice. We want to give people chances, okay? Also, people have really easy access to children at churches. If you think about the number of kids that walk to the bathroom by themselves, the number of kids that are here on any given day, there's a lot of good access to children. That's why we have this in place. Does that make sense? The numbers tell the story. 1 in 4 girls will be abused in their lifetime. 1 in 6 boys. What I want to say clearly about that too is we know that men report at a lower rate than women, so it is probably a pretty equal number. Only 1 in 10 will tell someone. My hope is, as you hear this, if someone has ever hurt you or this brings up stuff, that you'll come and talk to Rhonda or Erica and I, because we would like to help you too. 93% of the people who are abused by someone they know and love, not a stranger. A report of abuse is made every 10 seconds, and 5 children every day in the US die from neglect. Hopefully we won't see much neglect. Hopefully that's when we can go right over it. But if you have a kid in VBS or camp who is smelly, who looks like they haven't eaten in a week, that may be something we have to talk about. Hopefully we won't, okay? So what is abuse? Abuse can be physical. What are examples of physical abuse? Bruises, scars, burns. If you see weird bruises, sometimes it's because it's a kid, and sometimes it's because someone's hurting them, right? Then we have sexual abuse, emotional abuse, ritual abuse, neglect and abandonment, and financial or exploitation. If you think someone has been hurt, either if someone says, my daddy hits me, if someone says, somebody has touched me, what do you do if a kid tells you something like that? Jackson.
For me and Jack, especially, is telling you or an older VBS.
Tell someone else. You get it?
Other.
If it is you or Jack, tell anyone, right? Or Annabella, right? Tell anyone else. Adults, what do? You take it to the preacher, you take it to Erica or Rhonda if they're on site, because we are mandated reporters. Hear me? You closer to 18 are closer. Those guys probably aren't. But all of us, if we hear something, it is our job to report, not to investigate. It's not your job to say, tell me how many times he hit you and where did he do it and are you sure? That is not your job. Your job is to say, I am so sorry, I love you, and go get help. Does that make sense? And we report 3 things. One's accidents. Some kid is gonna fall and scrape their knee, right? If a kid falls and scrapes their knee, you need to go to Erica or Rhonda, okay? If you're doing VBS, you go to Lynn, or Kim, or me, or Erica or Rhonda, depending on where you're serving. Does that make sense? Do we know who Lynn and Kim are over here? Cool? You feel good about that? Accidents we don't call defects for, right? If a kid scrapes their knee, we just make sure their parents know. We have forms if it's bad enough, but they will help you handle that, okay?
And if they hit their head, even if you don't see any sign.
Then we talk to, we tell parents and we talk to. Yep.
Yeah, let one of your adults know, Kim, Lynn, Erica, or I, and we can inform the parents immediately, just so they know, and we'll, make sure they get ice pack, write an accident report, all that.
We look for these things, didn't see them, but they have to be told immediately.
And why do we do this all? To protect us and the church, to cover our rear ends. Okay? Does that make sense? And because we want the kid to get the care they need, right? All of those things together. Oh yeah. Then there's incidents. Can I use Jack and Jackson as an incident? If they are 3 and Jackson pushes Jack off the top of the slide, right? If they're 1 and Jackson bites Jack, that is an incident. That means something happened. Similarly, go tell your people, right? And they will help you figure out what next steps are and how to report. You got it? Then we have suspected abuse. There's all kinds of explanation here and in your policy that I have given you on what to do. But what I want you to do if you are here at camp, and it happens here at camp, is go find Erica, Rhonda, Kim, or Lynn. Does that make sense? Quickly. Quickly, quickly, quickly. When I say immediately, don't leave your group of students to go do it, but as quickly as possible. Does that make sense? Okay. I also want to ask these questions quick. This will probably not happen to the youngest of us, but I want us to think about it. What happens if you've reported something and the news media calls you? They should not do that. What do you say to the news media?
Pastor Emily.
Talk to Pastor Emily. What do you say? Talk to Pastor Emily, okay? You can say no comment. Our media people say, can I have your phone number or email address? And Pastor Emily will get back to you, okay? I don't think that'll ever happen, but I want to say it out loud. If you have reported something and the kid comes back the next day, how do you respond to the kid? The same way as any day, okay? Again, it is not our job to question. That's defects' job.
Or to single them out.
Or to single them out, or to make a big deal. We just treat them like any other kid. Does that make sense? We are in a church. What happens if we hear a kid say that daddy hurt me and daddy keeps coming to church? What is your job? How is your job to interact with daddy? Adults, what is your job? Treat them with love and respect, and you can maybe keep your eye out. Kids, I'm not saying go up and hug them, right? You get to choose what distance you keep. And we as a church continue to treat people as innocent until proven guilty and love people. Does that make sense? Are you with me? I don't think any of this will ever happen, but I gotta say it. Ready? You are a mandatory reporter. Who do you report to?
Pastor Emily.
Or?
Lynn, Kim,
Lynn, Kim, Erica.
Riley.
Y'all got it so much. I'm on slide 15. Here's my scenario. During the course of your VBS rotation, I went fast.
Okay, I was like,
Well, all of that is about reporting.
right.
And I want you to have the information, but I'm hoping that if you report, you do it on a phone call with us. You have it if you need it, okay? During the course of your VBS rotation, you notice that Sally has bruises on her arm. You ask what happened, and she confides that Grandpa grabbed her and left bruises. What do you do?
Report.
Tell Erica, Rhonda, Liz.
Woo! You got it? You got it. Okay, so here are our policies. Now that we've talked about reporting, here are the basic rules of our child safety policy. Number one, unless we have hired you and are paying you as a volunteer, we want you around church for 6 months before we let you take Safe Sanctuary. We need to know who you are. We have found that the people who come into churches and say, I am ready to be in children's ministries, are either the best volunteers or people who want to pray on children. So we ask people to wait a while. Does that make sense? Number two, every 3 years we do a background check. We have rolled out a new policy. We're doing background checks. That's why if you haven't done one in a while, I want you to fill out the form and give Lynn your ID because we want to run them. Number two, we want you to annually take a training like this. Number three, that's not two. Our basic rule is the 2 adult or 2 people in charge rule. Does that make sense? There should never be a church activity where there is 1 child and 1 adult in a place that no one else is around. I want to say it again. There should never be a church activity where it is even me and Ella, who is 16, should not be. Oh, I was like, you're not 12. No. But it should never be me and Ella in the FLC and no one else anywhere near. Because it would be really easy for me to take advantage of Ella, even though she's awesome, right? It'd be even easier for someone to take advantage of Jackson. It'd be even easier for someone to take advantage of Millie, right? Right?
Yeah.
So, that's our number 1 rule. Whenever possible, there should be 2 adults. Here's the thing about camp. There are adults everywhere, right?
And those adults should not be related.
Oh, let me do that again. Those adults cannot be married. Because if it's me and Jay and Ella, Jay cannot be forced to testify against me if I've done something to Ella. Does that make sense?
And
How-
his testimony doesn't really hold up very much in your defense here.
Correct. It doesn't help me if he says, well, of course she didn't do anything, right? However, if it's me and Jack and Ella, or me and Kim and Ella, there's more people, right? At camps and VBS, there's lots of people around. We use a floater system. That means don't go in a closed door with a student by yourself. Don't go in a closed door with a student by yourself. Do you hear me one more time? Don't go in a closed door with a student by yourself. What are some examples of closed doors that you might find yourself in with one student? Jack?
A restroom?
A restroom. Miss Erica, tell us, what do we do when kids need to go to the restroom?
Okay, the stall doors can stay shut, the main door is open. You should be in the hallway if at all possible. It's super hard to reach our sinks, a lot of times they need help. That's why we always want 2 people, so one person can go feed that one and do that, helping.
And the other
The other
person is
person will
there.
be watching as there's your second that everything's appropriate. Also, usually if they are potty trained, that means that they don't need help in the bathroom. You shouldn't be wiping them, anything like that. And I'm gonna tell you that you're gonna have 3-year-olds that say, I would poo, I need you to wipe me, and you're going to have to be a poo doula. Or a poola.
A poola.
Talk.
You're gonna have to talk with her. You're gonna have, and I do this weekly, like it is a real thing. So, cause you don't need to wipe their booties, they're gonna have to do the best they can. There are gonna be times that they have an accident and we are not monsters. So we're going to clean them up, but you're going to have a second person.
And Jack and Jackson and Annabella are not the ones that are supposed to be cleaning
No.
them.
Ideally, yeah, you're gonna want an over 18-year-old, as one of your 2 people, always.
Does that make sense? So, if a kid needs to goes to the bathroom and says, I need help wiping, what is your job?
Okay, buddy, you can do this. Go ahead and get that toilet paper, that's right. Put it all together, now you're gonna reach behind you. Yep, you can do it. I know you don't want to, I don't either. I believe
You
in
know
you.
she's filming.
I think
They're
he
gonna
does.
rerun
Do you hear me? Do you hear me? How important this is? We would prefer, when it comes to diaper changes, for it to be someone who's being paid.
Yeah.
We would prefer that. We understand that that's not always the case, but if you have talked to Erica or Rhonda and they say they need you to do it, you do what they ask you to do, but we would prefer it someone who gets paid.
And theoretically, these, we're kind of focusing on a
Kids who
VBS
should
and
not.
camp things. The requirement is potty trained, so, that shouldn't be an issue. The only people that should be changing diapers here are nursery workers. They are paid and they've been trained.
Does that make sense? Cool? Next question is appropriate touch. Can you hug Millie, who is in pre-K? Let me rephrase this. Can Mr. Wally hug Millie, who is in pre-K, the same way he can hug Lizzie, who's going into 8th grade?
They got now.
Big fat no, right? If we walk in the room, poor Mr. Wally, if you walk in the room and Millie is on Mr. Wally's lap with lots of other kids, that might be okay, right? If we walk in the room and Lizzie is on Mr. Wally's lap, it is a problem. Do you understand?
Method is side hug in all cases.
Does that make sense? In the same way, if we walk in a room and Millie is on Logan's lap, it is probably okay. Assuming there's lots of other people and he's comfortable and all those things, right? If we walk in the room and Lizzie is on Logan's lap, we are less comfortable with it. I'm sorry, Logan, I'm sorry. Right? Right? In the same way, Jackson and Jack are right in the middle of that, right? Jackson may need a really good hug from Mr. Wally, and it may be weird, depending on the moment, right? There is appropriate touch, and some of that matters with children. The smaller the child, they may need more love and affection, and the bigger the child, you need to be careful of boundaries. Got it? What happens if a kid is unruly? How do I discipline them?
Okay, for discipline, we are, when we're talking about birth through, I would say this 5 to 7, It's redirect is first. Remove them from the situation. It's probably something that is, they're getting triggered, remove them from the situation, distract them, etc. If that doesn't work, you can give them an age-appropriate timeout. An age-appropriate timeout would be the number of minutes that they are old. 2-year-olds, 2 minutes, 4-year-olds, 4 minutes, etc. If you're giving a 12-year-old a 12-minute timeout, we have a big problem. If the timeout is not working, maybe this child has behavioral issues, etc. If that is an escalation, you take that to Erica, Rhonda, Kim, Lynn. Oh, that rhymes. Etc. We can discipline, like this has to be a safe place. The other thing is, when you're talking about preschool age especially, and into maybe up to first grade, they are still gonna be giving tantrums. They can, it depends on the child, and tantrums can involve kicking and hitting and rolling around, and everyone's safety is important. So that would be a removal of a child from the situation. It's not a, you're going to the office because you are in trouble. It is, I can't let you kick somebody. I can't let you hurt yourself. You pick them up as safely as you can. Get help, get an adult probably for this, and you just let them rage in a safe space. Does that make sense?
Does that make sense? More grown-up folk. Annabella and Jack and Jackson, we are not asking you to deal with a tantrum. That's why you're there, because if the adult that's with you needs to deal with a tantrum, then you can make sure the other kids are safe. Does that make sense? Is that fair? Yeah? Okay. Do we feel okay about this? Are we going? You got me?
And it's not like that happens all the time, but
I would rather tell you what to expect. My hope is we never have to discipline anyone, and it's a great weeks, right? Okay, scenarios. You're leading a group of splash camp, and Molly needs to go to the bathroom. What do, Ella?
Make sure there's another adult
Make sure there's another adult with the students if you're leaving them.
at the bathroom.
And at the main bathroom.
yes, and so if you're a splash camp and you're, hey, Tracy, I gotta go take this child to the bathroom, I'm gonna grab that floater, go with me, type of deal. And if you're both, 16 doors are open, that is okay.
Does that make
Jack
sense?
and Jackson, they don't get to do that.
Jack and
It's
Jackson,
not personal, but
it's an age thing, right? They came up through the ranks, and you will too, right?
Also, if you're at Splash Camp and like Ella, Logan, or somebody, older kids have to take someone to the bathroom, they grab a floater, make sure you find me and Erica so we can go be with your group while you are gone.
Yeah, because we have floaters
Yeah.
for a reason to fill like gaps.
Does that make sense? Okay. Also, another option is everyone goes to the bathroom.
That's the best.
Yeah, that's
option.
it. Also, yeah. Oh, so you go to the bathroom? Hey, does anyone else need to go to the bathroom? Oh, 7 of you do, and there's 9. We're all going.
We're just gonna go. Does that make sense? Those are 2 good options, okay? Rodrigo's throwing a fit and hitting other kids. How, don't you love it? I just made up a name. How do you discipline them, Lizzie? Right.
Pick them up carefully until I can bring it to the safe place that,
Cool. Y'all feel good?
And let Rhonda and I know, because if Rodrigo is going down on Monday and Tuesday, that warrants a parent conversation. Is Wednesday is it safe for him to come back? Let us know, hey, I've had to take this child out of this space 3 times today. You shouldn't have to deal with that, too. So always let us know.
They would rather know than not know. Does that make sense?
And also, if you have a child, because if you're with one of the younger groups, that's 2 coming up for camps, especially maybe even VBS coming up with a 3, they might be scared, they might be crying, and if they're crying for a long period of time, bring the child to us.
Yeah.
That way we can try to calm them down, see what we can do, and if it's just not something they want to do, we can contact the parents.
Because I guarantee no parent wants to pick up their child and find out that they've been crying for 4 hours.
And there's a difference between a kid who is sad and crying in a tantrum, right? There are kids who get hurt and are crying. That is not the same thing as throwing bloody murder because it wasn't their turn on the slide, right? We get that? We're good there? Cool. Do you have any other questions of me about child safety? Yes, sir, Mr. Jackson.
If I'm helping.
Yes.
A kid comes up to me for whatever reason, I told them, no, it's not your turn to be honest. It
Yep.
does not mean they hit, what would I
I would find an adult.
find?
You can say, no, we don't hit. If it is a 2-year-old who barely hurt you and you feel like that fixes the situation, that's one thing. You should still tell the adult. But my thing is, you should always tell the adult. Right?
And you know, there's.
And it can be the adult that's in your
Buddy,
group.
That's not what we do here. We have gentle hands. We're not hitting.
Yeah, we have had some kids that have hit our youth helpers in the past, and
It's also hard to decide, like, if you're gonna roughhouse with our children, which happens, and like, it's kind of okay, like, wear them out, we're all thrilled. But sometimes lines can get blurred, and so it's something to think about if you are running and tickling and picking them up and loving on them and having fun. It gets to the point where like, they might think that this is all okay, and so you might need to make a boundary, like, hey, you know what, I had a lot of fun what we were doing earlier, but that was too much, we're not gonna do that.
Does that make sense too? Because those lines get blurry. Again, there should always be multiple people with any group of kids, yeah? For me, I need everyone to fill out the covenant saying, I taught you this, you understand, I'll need that back. Miss Lynn is gonna collect them, need it back before we go. And if you are an adult who needs us to background check you, if you'll give her your background check information, and I turn over the floor, almost, 26, almost. No, I am, turning over the floor.
Okay, so you covered a lot of the stuff that I was going to talk about. No, that's good. That's good. One thing is when you're taking children from point A to point B, you're always going to have a leader and a caboose. That was something that last camp season I noticed that we weren't always doing. The camper should never be the back of the line. It should be a worker. Decide who is going to be that person, you know? The next thing is to count them. I kind of, in my preschool, kind of do like a door rule. If I'm going through a door, I'm counting my kids. Like when I leave my classroom, I count them. When I enter the playground, I count them. When I leave the playground, I count them again. And when I enter my classroom again, because it's amazing where they go. When you're at the bathroom, count them. Count them. Know how many you have in your group and count them all the time. When you go somewhere, count them. Just count them. Maybe you're in the middle, count them. Just saying. We kind of talked about the bathrooms. Try to stay out of the bathroom if you can in the hallway. Obviously, depends on your age group. If you've got 3s and young 4s, probably someone's going to have to go in there. If they don't want to close the stall, that's fine. Like, they're babies, you know. If they're in 3rd grade, you gotta close the stall. A lot. If you leave your room, your group, your area, your station, etc., make verbal contact with your counterpart. Liz, I'm leaving for a second. I have to pee really bad. Liz says, got it. Wait for the response. And I say this, it sounds so simple, but when I was preschool teacher, still in preschool, one time at preschool, no, I got that joke, it's fine. Thank you. I left to go do something and I didn't make that verbal contact, and my counterpart didn't hear me leave, didn't check, and then she left. And we left those kids alone for a moment. Obviously no one was hurt, it was fine, but it's not okay, and anything could have happened. So just make sure that you tell them and that they respond back, yeah, I heard you. If you have to go to the bathroom, like, go to the bathroom. If a single kid needs to go to the bathroom, make sure you find a second. If there's any accidents, injuries, let us know so we can do an accident report, especially head injuries. Usually if there's a mark on the child, we want to go ahead and call the parent, even though if they're fine, just say, hey, you're gonna pick up Joey, they do have a black eye. They were fine, they only cried for a minute, they wanna stay, but I don't want you to come, because I'll tell you what, if I'm walking up through the parking lot and I can see my child on the playground with a black eye, I will freak out. We're preventing all that. Yes. We'll fill out reports, that kind of stuff. Discipline, we talked about. I was like basically on my things. Campers, we'll let y'all know what time we want you to be there. We're gonna have you be getting there early. You guys will all have your shirts to, that says staff, and we'll get those to you ASAP. So it's really super clear who is in charge, and unfortunately, that is you.
And please wear your shirts every day at the camp.
Yeah, you're gonna have to do laundry.
That way the parents know who the staff are.
Yes, yeah.
Because if, say, like, Millie was in a group and her mom needed to come ask Jackson where her blankie was that she brought, even though mom told her not to bring it, she had to have it. Jackson, we can say, oh, Jackson, he's right over there, brown hair, wearing one of the camper shirts, and she can say, oh, hi, he told me. It's more helpful for the parents.
Yes, and our youth helpers, like, be prepared to talk to parents. They want to see you. Like, I will never forget, Logan's older brother, Ethan, was like 13, and he was Jack's, one of his VBS leaders, and when, we went to go pick him up, George, my husband, went to pick him up, and he was like, hi, shook his hand, I'm Ethan, Jack's been great this time, like, he's been wonderful, it's been a great week, and George was like, shocked, like, what a young man that he did that, like, he felt like, this is a 13-year-old who's leaving my child, and I'm perfectly fine with that. Like, make eye contact, shake their hand, introduce yourself. I'm Lizzie, and I have had this little nugget all weekend, and oh my gosh, what a darling. Or, you know, maybe say no sometimes, Mom, like, don't say that.
Don't say that.
But let them know that you've been with this child. Tell them a story that they did that was really cute. Make Mom and Dad very comfortable that this is a safe space for their children, and that they want to come back. And that maybe they want to come back on a Sunday and see what all these really cool people are all about.
And even if they had an issue, then you have to tell the parent that, tell them positives too.
Yes, sandwich method. I've had Lizzie all week. She's fantastic. What a fun personality. You know, she did hit this one kid and didn't love that. And maybe you could talk to them about using gentle hands at camp. But love this child. And did you know she did the funniest thing? Sandwich, good. Not maybe needs progress. Good.
That is an important skill to learn.
It is. It's hard.
Even with adults.
Yeah, no parent wants to hear that there's anything wrong with their angel baby. And we're not saying there's anything wrong with their angel baby. We're saying, would love it if you could have a conversation to your child about not biting people. That would be great. But love them. Okay, any questions? Super. Kim, you got any guest stuff to talk about?
I think you just covered it all. Lindsay,
I feel weird going on camera now. Like,
I think we're good.
Okay.
So,
Gonna
forms
edit that
returned,
out. What?
so other than forms returned, we're good, right?
We give all forms to you?
To Lynn.
To Lynn, I knew that.
Lynn's gonna take all forms. Thank you.